I hope all of you enjoyed your 4th of July weekend. I know I definitely did. If you're still celebrating, good for you. Stay safe out there, make smart decisions, and just, celebrate this wonderful country that we live in here in America. Again, I apologize. There was no video I uploaded Saturday. So, with that, I wasn't able to talk about really anything that happened Friday surrounding the Phillies. And there was some news that came out, such as the young starter Mick Abel. He was demoted, sent back down to AAA. He had been struggling as of late in the Phillies rotation, particularly against better teams and good offenses. So he's back down in the minors, back in AAA to help try to figure things out there and fix a few things, make some adjustments. Maybe we'll see him back up at the big league level some point in 2025. Or he could be a trade piece as we get closer to this July 31st trade deadline. Who knows? We'll see. Taijuan Walker is going to be replacing Mick Abel in the Phillies starting rotation for the time being. Obviously, they needed somebody to take his spot with Aaron Nola still on the IL. Taijuan Walker, the Phillies obviously want him to be a bullpen arm, but the veteran has to, slide back into the rotation. Hopefully he does a good job there because we all know he's had a shaky past with the Phillies. So we'll see how that all works out. But, that's, something else to look at as we move forward. The Phillies did lose the series opener on the 4th of July against the Cincinnati Reds at home at Citizens Bank Park, 9-6. But the Phillies did turn right back around and get a 5-1 victory on Saturday afternoon to even up the series against the Reds, 1-1 heading into Sunday's series finale, looking for another series win. The Phillies used a long ball, used their power to get that 5-1 win against the Reds Saturday. They hit 3 home runs, one by Edmundo Sosa, a solo shot, a 2-run home run by Alec Bohm, and a 2-run home run by Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarbarian. It was his 27th Schwarbomb of 2025 to give the Phillies some insurance runs there to make it a 5-1 lead, which they ultimately won the game 5-1. So great job there, using the power to get a much-needed win against the Reds to even up this series. Also, shout out to the Phillies bullpen. We all know it's been a weakness in 2025. There's really no sugarcoating that. Very, very, very inconsistent. But the Phillies bullpen did throw 4 scoreless innings in relief of Ranger Suarez, who only went 5 innings in Saturday's win. They used their top arms in the bullpen there Saturday in Jordan Romano, Tanner Banks, Orion Kirkring, and Matt Strahm. So shout out to those guys getting the job done against the Reds to get that win and head into Sunday looking for another series win. As I said, welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. As I had just mentioned, Ranger Suarez, he only went 5 innings in Saturday's win. Didn't necessarily have his best stuff. Also didn't necessarily have his worst stuff. He kind of, just gutted his way through, grinded out those 5 innings, and kept the Phillies in the ballgame. He did snap a streak of 10 straight games of pitching 6 or more innings, including 9 of those 10 games, 7 or more innings. So, snaps that. He still, as I said, pitched pretty well overall Saturday in those 5 innings. He went those 5 innings. He allowed 5 hits. He did allow 2 walks. So there was a little bit of command issues there. He allowed 1 earned run in those 5 innings, so good job there. It came off of a solo home run. That was it. And he did have 6 strikeouts in those 5 innings. As I said, not his best stuff, not his worst stuff. He got the job done, kept the Phillies in the game, and they ended up winning that ball game. He only threw 80 pitches through those 5 innings, so he could have went a little deeper into the ball game, but he did have some heavy lifting there towards the end of his outing. So maybe that was the reason why Rob Thompson decided to lift Ranger Suarez after 5 innings with only 80 pitches. Regardless, the Phillies won the game. Ranger Suarez continues to look really good overall in 2025. So that is just a great thing for him. Shout out to Ranger Suarez. Also, shout out to Edmundo Sosa. He got the start at second base in Saturday's win against the Reds. He did everything. Incredible play defensively in the first inning. He made a running behind him, over the shoulder, diving, sliding catch to end that first inning in shallow center field. Just incredible. If you didn't get to see the game and you didn't see the highlight yet, I recommend going to find it on social media or wherever it may be where you can find it. It's got to be everywhere. Just an incredible play by Edmundo Sosa. He also got the job done at the plate. The Phillies were trailing 1-0 going into the 5th inning. And then Edmundo Sosa launched a solo home run to tie it up 1-1. And then the Phillies obviously went on to win that ball game 5-1. So shout out to Edmundo Sosa for making an incredible play defensively and putting the Phillies on the board and, lighting a spark for the offense to ultimately win the game with that home run. Also, shout out to Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm had his fair share of struggles at the end of last year to start this year in 2025 as well. But ever since his early struggles, he has been one of the best, most consistent, hottest hitters, not only in the Phillies lineup, but in Major League Baseball. And yesterday, or Friday, I should say, he did have a chance to give the Phillies some runs late in the game there to maybe even take the lead there. The Phillies were down 9-6 in Friday's loss to the Reds. In the 8th inning, it was 9-6. Alec Bohm came up with bases loaded, 3-run deficit. Unfortunately for Bohm and the Phillies, he struck out looking to end that 8th inning. The Phillies didn't score any runs there. Great opportunity to do so, to maybe get that late inning rally, that late inning win. Didn't happen. The Phillies went on to lose that ball game 9-6, but Alec Bohm turned it right around real quickly, had a short memory as you need to have in professional sports, specifically, particularly in Major League Baseball when you're pretty much playing every day, and he got the job done at the plate as well. He hit a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 6th inning on Saturday to give the Phillies a 3-1 lead, and that's really all they needed because they ended up winning that ball game 5-1. Great stuff by Alec Bohm there. As I said, putting that at-bat on Friday behind him and getting the job done Saturday to help his team win. He also made a great play defensively as well, just like Edmundo Sosa. So both of those guys getting the job done for the Phillies, both defensively with their gloves and offensively with their bat. Shout out to those guys, to those infielders, and just great stuff really overall, as I said, by Ranger Suarez as well. Now, as we get in closer to this July 31st trade deadline, the All-Star breaks in just about a week. So the trade rumors for every team, particularly the Phillies, just are swirling like crazy. We all know the Phillies are going to be buyers at the deadline. And their biggest weakness is the bullpen. They need high leverage late inning relief help as we get closer to this deadline and as they try to make a playoff push, a World Series push. And a guy that could come in and help them is Miami Marlins reliever Calvin Fulcher, however you want to say it. I'm not really sure how to say his name. I don't know if I'm butchering it, but that's his name. He is in the National League East, like the Phillies, obviously a division rival, but the Phillies do have a history with the Marlins with some trades, so this could be another intra-division trade between the Phillies and the Marlins. He is a 29-year-old right-handed pitcher, late inning, high-leverage bullpen guy with the Marlins. His ERA is a little higher than you might like so far in 2025, but that kind of has to do with some inconsistency, particularly earlier in the season, where I believe he had a ERA up over 6 for the month of April or May, one of those months there. So that kind of, inflated his season over ERA overall. So he has a 4.05 ERA so far in 2025. Not horrible, not great. He has 5 holds, 8 saves so far this year. He's been mostly used in the 8th and 9th innings for the Marlins. As I said, a high leverage late inning guy, which is exactly what the Phillies need and what they're looking for at this trade deadline. Now his season ERA may be 4.05, a little high, but just in the 9th inning alone, he has made 16 appearances in 2025 in the 9th inning. And in that 9th inning, his ERA is 1.26. So just, that's what you need late in the game like that. A low ERA. He's not allowing runs there. Obviously, he's getting the job done. So the Phillies need a high leverage late inning guy. He fits that bill pretty good. And he really shouldn't be, too expensive to trade for. You don't really have to part with too much for a guy like that. There will be a lot of teams interested in him just because a lot of teams need bullpen help like the Phillies, particularly these contenders, could always use bullpen help at the deadline. And he'll probably be one of the hotter names playing on a Marlins team that's one of the worst in Major League Baseball that are clearly going to be sellers. So he's a name to keep an eye on. As I said, his ERA is a little higher right now in 2025, but he did have a pretty good solid season last year in 2024 with the Marlins. He had a 3.19 season ERA with 11 holds, 6 saves, and he had 63 strikeouts in 53 and 2/3 innings pitched last year for the Marlins. So really a pretty good season. He's been pitching well as of late in June and through his first couple of appearances in July this year. So he may be turning things around after I said a little bit of inconsistency earlier on in the season. He has a 6-pitch arsenal, which is very crazy. You don't usually see that out of relievers these days. So a little bit unique there for him. Really, it's a 5-pitch arsenal. He does throw a changeup, but he rarely uses it. I think I saw that he only threw it once this year in 2025 so far. So like I said, he can throw 6 pitches. He really only throws 5. So just unique stuff out of there for a bullpen guy. He still has a few more years of arbitration eligibility, so there is that club control there as well, which makes it a little bit more enticing for a team looking to acquire a guy at a trade deadline, so you don't just have him for a few months. So he's a name to keep an eye on. As I said, he'll definitely be in trade rumors. A lot of teams looking for bullpen help, like the Phillies, will definitely be looking at his availability and what the Marlins are looking for return in him. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. Again, I apologize for no video Saturday, but we are back to our normally scheduled routine for the time being. Again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily by yours truly, Mike Hennelly. Hopefully the Phillies can get this series finale win to pick up another series victory Sunday here against the Reds and move on to these final 2 series out on the West Coast before the All-Star break on a high note. Again, thank you guys for watching, and as always, go Phils.